how did Hitler and the Nazis Nazify the church, and how did they control Christians across Germany? Most German people in 1933 went to church, and obviously there were two main strands of Christianity: Catholicism and Protestantism. 2/3 of German people were Protestant and 1/3 were Catholic. Both were strong groups. There were some fundamental differences, though, to start off with, between Christianity and Nazism. For a start, Nazism glorified strength and violence, whereas Christianity taught love and forgiveness. Nazism, they promoted this kind of despising of weakness. In Christianity, it was about helping weak people. In Nazism, it was about racial superiority, whereas in Christianity, it was respect for all people. And finally, I suppose more, important than anything, in Nazism, they saw Hitler as the godlike figure, whereas in Christianity, it was obviously about God. Hitler was concerned because he recognized these differences, and he recognized the threat that this powerful church body might pose. He decided to deal, first of all, with the Catholic Church by actually working with them. And in 1933, Hitler signed what was called a concordat with the Pope. And it was Pope Pius XI, who was the Pope in question, who signed this concordat with Hitler. And obviously probably not one of the most proud moments of the Catholic Church. However, in signing that, Hitler agreed not to interfere in Catholic Church business. So that included youth clubs, it included Catholic schools. However, within a few months of that, Hitler broke those promises. Priests were arrested and harassed. Catholic youth movements were closed down. Monasteries were closed down. In 1937, the Pope came out with his famous statement, or his famous speech, which was famously called "With Burning Anxiety." So in other words, with burning worry, where he condemned the Nazi regime and he spoke very strongly about the human rights abuses that the Nazis had perpetrated. As a result of this speech, 400 Catholic priests were arrested and sent to concentration camps. In fact, they were sent to Dachau, 400 priests. So the response from Hitler was swift. To this speech. You would have to say that there was limited opposition from the Catholic Church from 1933 all the way through to 1945. The Protestant Church the Protestants were slightly different. Some of those actually supported Hitler and the Nazis, and they set up their own national Reich Church. This was essentially a Nazi church, a Nazi Protestant church. It was led by the Bishop Ludwig Müller, who himself was a Nazi. And in this National Reich Church, they would use the Hitler salute, the Heil Hitler. Things were changed within the church. So, for example, the Bible was replaced with Mein Kampf. The cross was replaced with a sword. The priests wore German military regalia, German military uniform. It was a Nazi church. They worshipped the idol that was Adolf Hitler. Not all Protestants went along with that, and in I think it was 1935, or certainly the mid-1930s, some of them set up something called the Confessional Church. The Confessional Church was an anti-Nazi Protestant church trying to bring Protestants together against Hitler. In 1937, the Confessional Church was banned by the Nazis, and its leader Niemöller was arrested and again sent to a concentration camp. So the church itself was actually crushed. And that's it, really. And you would have to say that overall, Hitler was pretty successful in limiting the potential power of Christians and the church. Because if you look at the amount of church goers in Germany and the German population, it was massive. If they'd have followed biblical principles, then things could have been a lot more difficult for Hitler and the Nazis.